Good Monday morning, June 5th. I'll zoom in. Don't know if you can tell, but you can row those beans over there. And Hydra's nurse tanks are both full. The other one's parked in the driveway down there. Gonna start doing the awful spraying corn today. You know, doing people in with the Roundup that's been around since 1970s, but now it's killing people. Things are moved around in here. I don't know, I think I showed this before, but I got all those off, but the planters put away. Corn heads out here because we're eventually going to be going through that when they come to go through that. Grain heads back here just out of the way for now. I know it's dark back here, but deal with it. Seed tender. Got the parts for the color packer, so yes, it's dark. They're in. Grain drills in. Field cultivators in. Rock pickers in. Yes, I got the hose fixed on the fertilizer wagon. That's put away over there in the other shed. So, no, we have not had any rain in, I don't know, pushing 3 weeks now since we had that 4 tenths. We ended up with 1.05, just shy of 1.1 inches of rain for the whole month of May. Really not much in sight. They show a couple of 20 or 30% chances this week. Yeah, it's getting dry. At least it's cooled down. We're not in the 90s anymore. It's only supposed to go up to like 75 today, near low 70s the next 2 or 3 days. Might even be a high 60 in there. But all right, I gotta get sprayer ready, throw it in the gator, take it over. Sprayer is already sitting over there by the water wagon because I went through that yesterday too. Yeah, Sunday, and we actually did stuff. Imagine that. I bet you a lot of the city people had the day off. Anyways, we're leaving that alone from that video a few videos ago. But all right, we're gonna go spray corn. Actually, we're not gonna leave it completely alone because I'm all for free speech. And as Jimmy and I said, we'll debate anything with anybody. But Scott Janes, my good buddy Scott Janes on here, who became probably the 3rd person I've ever blocked. I think they can still watch, but they can't comment because I think it said it blocks them from commenting. Anyways, I'll just read you a little bit of what he said. He says, many city people grow up in small farming communities and go to the city for work since opportunities are limited in small communities as they die out, often due to farm consolidations. Ronald Reagan was the death knell for small farmers across the nation. Really, Ronald Reagan, the guy who probably is the only one and will be the only one in history that in his re-election won 49 out of 50 states. Let's see, the state he lost. Oh yeah, his opponent, Walter Mondale's state. Okay. I like Grumpy, but folks like him get into mindset that everyone else is wrong or lazy. We live in a lazy fucking society. Deal with it. It's the government wants lazy people. Just because they don't operate large machinery, bad mindset to get into and will make you old. He put parentheses around lots of words like old. And grumpy before your time, LOL. Think positive about others and you'll be happier. Otherwise, you'll end up drinking beer in a garage and hating on people. Oh, a little dig towards the live stream. Okay. So then other people jumped on his ass along with me. And I said, really, Scott, that's quite the liberal mindset you have because that is such bullshit in today's time that many city people grow up in small farming communities and then move to the city. No, the majority of city people don't even have a clue what farming is. And they think their food comes from the grocery store. Do you always have to have liberal mindset? So anyways, there was other people, like I said, that jumped on him. And then he made this real stupid comment. And this is where I finally told him, you're done. Because, you know, we get accused of disinformation, people like Jimmy and I. But yet people like this are allowed to spew their disinformation. He said, not always, just truthful. The crops most farmers get out of the field can't be eaten without being processed into a food additive. Corn syrup is not needed in any food product, just a poor sweetening substitute. That's why all the self-serving "we farm, you eat" crap gets really annoying. Now, if I were growing fruits and vegetables, you could say that, but for most, it doesn't apply. Ethanol, not a completely useless product, but close to it. Several alternatives for that also. Corn and soybean acreage could be put to much better farm usage. Really, Scooter? Okay, so then my last reply before I shit-canned his ass was, really, dumbass. So the corn that gets ground up for animal feed, you're not eating, right? You don't eat beef, you don't eat pork, you don't eat chicken. See, that's how naive your liberal mind is and how stupid that mindset is. I guess it's time to give you the boot on this channel because you just can't make an intelligent argument. But that's it, folks. Yes, I'm not growing sweet corn that you can go out and pull an ear off and eat. That's a very small percentage of the corn population, we'll call it, that's grown in this country. But the majority of field corn that's grown in this country goes towards animal feed, gets ground up and eaten by cows, pigs, chickens, and all sorts of animals. Who eats those animals? We, the humans. Therefore, you are eating the corn. So to say that we can just stop producing corn and beans in this country, beans get crushed for the soybean oil, cooking oil. And then what's left gets ground up into soybean meal, animal feed. So what would you like to put there, Scooter? Let me guess. Windmills and solar panels? I mean, it's just, I'm done with those people because there's no, when you trash Ronald Reagan, I mean, seriously? Yes, we had a farm crisis, you can call it, in the early 80s. And you know why? Go look up Jimmy Carter, the piece of shit peanut farmer Democrat that was president before him, and his grain embargo and shit like that. So now I'm going to go spray corn. Just thought I'd throw that out there. All right, I got all my death stuff in here. No, that doesn't all exactly go in one tank full because I have to have partial of a few jugs and whatnot. But anyways, I wanted to mention one more thing before we get into the day of spraying all this horrible stuff. So I'm at the chiropractor this morning. I don't know what time it is, 9:30. So on my way back, I stopped to see a landowner for a few minutes about something. And they had, it's called 4 Aces Septic Company at their house to pump their shitter out. So it was funny, I was talking with the landowner and his wife, and they follow me and whatnot. And the septic guy walks by with his shovel and his poker thing in his hand, and he goes, I follow you too, I watch. So 4 Aces Septic guy, appreciate it. So just thought I'd throw that in there. I get to look at my American flag hood while I'm spraying. It's pretty bad when you're making dust spraying. Yeah. You're not supposed to make dust spraying, but anyways, I'm doing the first time around this big part. This is planted separate. And yes, this is hard to hold the camera and make sure I stay between the rows. So, but I'm gonna have a dusty sprayer when I get done spraying this year at this rate. As you can see, the corn down through here is not bad, but it's lower ground. You know, you get back there and over there in the hills, you can almost see it from here, how it looks shorter. I mean, we need rain, just plain and simple. We need rain. So hopefully we get some pretty soon, especially for the residual I'm putting in here. But yeah, so up here on these knolls, I mean, it ain't horrible looking, but it's gonna get ugly soon if we don't get rain. For inquiring minds that want to know, I spray at 6 miles an hour. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, to each their own. I know the guys with them big sprayers love to go 8-10 miles an hour. I like to go 6 because I just feel like I have more control. But like I said, you probably can't tell from the camera, but the corn on them knobs are a couple inches shorter. The rest of this is 5-6 inches tall, about where I normally start spraying. And yes, it's gonna get hard to see because of all the dust. So amazing, creating dust like this, spraying corn. This is where I split the two fields, so I'll do this half over here first, and then I'll come back and do that half, because there's no, as I explained in the plant video, there's no straight side to it, so I gotta make a straight side, a straight road to start with somewheres. But as you keep going down the hill, you get into a little bit better looking corn, because you get into some ground that's still got a little bit better moisture left in it compared to what it has on the knobs. But it is what it is. We can't control Mother Nature, and she's being a bitch this year so far. But the sun's back out. It was kind of cloudy, but it really wasn't clouds. We've been getting that aftermath of the Canadian wildfires, so it's been smoke basically. But all right, turning you off for now. Ooh, I turned the radio down to film, but then I just turned it back up, and this is on. Phil Collins. Yeah, baby. Hold on. You can't beat this era of music. And Miami Vice was an awesome show. Alright, I'm now on this side of the field. Look how dirty my back window's gotten already. Yeah. Getting hard to see. Well, not that hard, but it's just, it's nasty. So, desperately need some rain. I don't think I'm going to put the camera out there anywhere today like I did last year to show you a boom spraying, because it's probably going to be just nothing but dust. So I don't know how much more I'm going to spray after I finish this tank anyhow, because it's weird with the cooler temperatures this week. The wind is starting to pick up now. It's almost noon, but they're talking like 10 to 20 mile an hour winds the next 2-3 days in the afternoons. Yeah, that helps, you know. Helps make it hard to spray, and doesn't really help dry ground that much, but getting more wind to dry it out. But it is what it is. I know, you farmers always bitch, you're never happy. Yeah. Not happy while killing the killing everybody. Oh, potential spam. Yeah, great. So unfortunately, looking at the trees and the weeds here, it's starting to get windy. But I've got just a little tiny bit left. We're almost at zero. I've got this little tiny, that's the test plot over there that goes up that way. Yeah, you can see these trees. It's getting breezy. This little tiny field, I'm just gonna hit it with spray right now. I mean, you can see probably from the tractor, you can't tell that there's weeds growing very well. There's exceptional weeds growing, because this little spot right here used to be where we piled shit in the summer when we had the dairy cows, and we didn't have any fields to spread on because everything was planted until we got some hay off, and then I lightly spread on hay fields and stuff. But so this is like major fertile, this little chunk. So I'm gonna blow off the last of this, and I think we're gonna have to quit, unfortunately, because it be blowing. Yeah, I guess that's what we're gonna deal with for the next 2 or 3 days. Is what it is. All right, just so y'all know, I'm back here at my water wagon, 1100 gallon tank. Just an old wagon we made into a water wagon. I bring the spray over in the gator. I just took the hose and kind of rinsed off my back window and the fenders a little bit here in the back of the tractor. I'll probably have to do that every damn load if it stays this dusty. But I mean, look at the dust all over the platform. So I bring all my spray over in jugs, climb up there, dump it in, the top to mix. I don't have the fancy induction thing, which I'm not bitching about, and I'm not saying, you know, those that have it, not sure how that come unhooked, but is a bad thing, because it's actually a good thing. But so yes, I come back here every time I need to mix spray. I turn the water on while I'm gone. Barb watches it, comes out, turns it off. So like, yes, when I do the beans on Emmerich Road where there's 75 acres, I'll have to go spray, come back, mix again to go finish. But like I've said a million times, there's only 2 of us, so it's still a pain in the ass to, even if we were to haul this, I have no way to rinse the jugs out. You know, here I have the hose to rinse jugs out. It just works for us. So I'm just showing you, this is how we do it. It's 1 o'clock. I'm gonna go over to the shop and eat my lunch. Oh, and I got my little flag in here for those that'll see this sometime and wonder what that's for. That's because when we run out of spray somewheres, because I mix a tank full, I go spray. So it's not like that tank full is gonna finish, you know, perfectly finish a field somewheres. I'm gonna run out somewheres. I don't have GPS, as I've told you before. I don't want GPS. You be you, I'll be me. So I put that little flag in the ground. That's where I ended up. That's where I go back to, pull my little flag, start spraying again. That's how we do it here, just so you know. All right, just ate my lunch in the shop. I'm gonna call this a video. So get your Grumpy Farmer apparel. Push on the link. Yeah, you can see the haziness from that Canadian wildfire. You can also see the flag standing straight out and whipping. But I want to read something to y'all. I read this on the live stream for those of you who were in the live stream. So come to the live streams more often. June 30th is the next one for Jim and I. But talking about, you know, the whole disinformation bullshit. You know how the left is, oh, Trump's tax cuts were all for the rich, blah, 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 blah. So this is what I read at the live stream. The latest government data show that in 2018, the top 1% of income earners, those who earn more than $540,000, earn 21% of all U.S. income, while paying 40% of all federal income taxes. The top 10% earned 48% of the income, so almost half, and paid 71% of federal income taxes. Almost 3/4. Top 10%. Over time, high-income Americans have shouldered a larger and larger share of the cost of government. Even the 2017 tax cuts, reviled by the political left, reduced tax bills, did you hear that? Reduced tax bills for the lowest income Americans by 10%, while only cutting taxes for the top 1% by 0.04%. Remember how you always hear the left, we gotta tax the top 1%, tax the rich. What's funny is the majority of them donate to the Democratic Party. After the tax cuts, the rich pay a larger, not smaller, share of income tax. In fact, by almost every measure, the U.S. has one of the most progressive systems of taxation in the world, in which high-income people pay the highest tax rates. Now, some of you are going to say, well, you know, you're making this shit up. Where'd you get this? We believe CNN. We believe the left. Alrighty. Looking at all federal taxes, the Congressional Budget Office, you know, the CBO we hear so much about, shows that the top 1% pay an average federal tax rate of 32%. The data show tax rates decline with income, and the poorest 20% of the population pay an average tax rate of just 1%. The left-leaning Tax Policy Center found similar results. Now, I'm not going to keep reading, just like I didn't the other night on the live stream, but that we did on June 2nd. But that's all part of, you know, what pisses me off about the Scott Janeses of the world, and when he makes the statement about how, you know, I just think people are stupid and lazy. Unfortunately, that's the society we live in. But that's the society that the left, the people running this country right now, that's what they want. They want stupid and lazy people. because they can control them more. So they spew their disinformation bullshit. People aren't smart enough to do their own homework, look shit up like I do, and they just believe it. Oh, well, the government says so. Must be true. Now, it's kind of like John Kerry. I was just texting with Jeffrey Moe about that. You know, John Kerry literally went to the World Economic Forum meetings and said, we need to do away with production agriculture because it's killing this country. You know, carbon. 0.04% of our atmosphere is carbon. 21% is oxygen. 78% is nitrogen. So of the remaining 1% after nitrogen and oxygen, 0.04% of that is carbon. Look it up. I'm not making that up. That's science that we're supposed to follow. So you got all these, you know, smooth talking people like Obama was, and, you know, Scott, you're Mr. Smooth Talker too with your, you know, well, I like Grumpy, but, you know, no, you don't. And I don't like you. At least be honest. So I don't have a problem with saying I don't like you. I don't like the other people that have come on here and spew their bullshit, hoping that other people will believe it. You don't have to believe what I have to say, but you can go verify it by looking it up because it's true. So, but I don't know. I'm going to end this video. You got to see the start of spraying. Unfortunately, it's, you know, almost 2 o'clock now, and I'm done because when your flag is pretty much blowing straight out stiff and the trees are blowing like you saw a little bit ago, it's not the time to be spraying. So we'll see you in the next one. And yes, here's your one more thing. When I stopped to see that landowner this morning, we've gotten to be friends. He was talking about being, you know, pissed off about how the government now wants all of you to register your gardens. Stop and think about some of this shit. The whole $600 thing on Venmo and all that kind of stuff. You know, we as farmers have always had to certify our crops, so that's what they call it. When we get down next Wednesday, as a matter of fact, I have an appointment at the FSA office, the Farm Service Agency, to go, and I filled out my maps, what I planted on every field, when I planted it, and all that. Now they want you to register your gardens. Yep, they want to keep track of everything, you know, money transaction over $600. They want you to register your gardens. Are you getting it yet? I mean, if some of you don't think this is some scary shit going on in this country now, then you need to wake the fuck up and wake up pretty quick, because, you know, they want to know what you're growing. John Kerry wants to do away with agriculture. I mean, fear is the number one motivator, folks. They want to keep putting fear into everybody. We just seen that the last 3 years with the old hokey pokey. And then the other thing is when you start having food shortages, and keep this in mind. Here's something most people probably don't know. When we left the Middle East, China was over there like that in Afghanistan, signing some deals to be able to dig all the lithium out of there. I've heard they've got deals with Mexico and other places too, because the United States is stupid enough to think we all need to drive fucking electric cars. So who do you think wants to control that, to be able to make all that, dig all that shit up to make those batteries for those electric cars? Are we going to be emboldened to China? What happens when China owns, you know, pretty much owns the whole electric grid, which could happen? What happens when somebody flips the switch and turns off our electricity here in this country for about 4 days? Oh, yeah. I'm not sure this country could survive all across it without electricity for 4 days before the mayhem would start. But stop and think about it, folks. The whole $600 thing. Tell us what you got in your garden if you're planting one. All this, I mean, does it fucking make sense? Are you getting it yet?